You're awake. You've the god's own luck, Lethaline. You're back at camp. Everyone is worried sick about you. How do you feel? We don't know. The Shem who brought you here saw no sign of him. A Shem brought you back 2 days ago. You don't remember him? He was a Grey Warden and appeared out of nowhere with you slung over his shoulder. You were delirious with fever. He said that he found you outside a cave in the forest, unconscious and alone. He left you here and ran off again. The Keeper's been using the old magic to heal you. She wants to talk to you too. Stay here, I'll get her.
I see you are awake, Dalan. It is fortunate Duncan found you when he did. I know not what dark power held you, but it nearly bled the life from you. It was difficult even for my magic to keep you alive. I know only that the Grey Warden found you in front of a strange cave, sick and alone. Duncan thought there may have been darkspawn creatures inside the cave. Is that true? Walking corpses? Dark magic, but not darkspawn. I know not what the other creatures might have been. What else did you find? What is the last thing you remember? A mirror. And it caused all this? I have never heard of such a thing in all the lore we have collected. I was hoping for answers when you woke, but there are only more questions. And Tamlin remains missing. He is more important than any lore in these ruins. If he is as sick as you were, his condition is grave. Duncan returned to the cave to search for Darkspawn, but we cannot rely on him to look for Tamlin as well. We must go ourselves, and quickly. Do you feel well enough to show us the way, Dalan? Without you, we will not find it. Your fever broke, and the signs of whatever illness snared you are gone. But truthfully, I don't know if you are free from it or not. I wish I knew more. Still, you seem well enough now. We must watch your condition, but without you we will not find this cave. I am relieved to hear it. I am ordering the clan to pack the camp so we can go north. Take Merrill with you to the cave. Find Tamlin if you can, but do it swiftly. If there is any truth to what Duncan said, then Darkspawn may show up in these parts soon. We must get away from that horde. But that is not our only concern. Did you encounter any other humans out in the forest? Although you hurt no one, these humans roused their nearby village against us. As everywhere, our people are not welcome here. We have stayed too long, and we must move on, quickly. I would be lying if I said I was not. But whatever knowledge lies in that cave is not worth our children. I send you back with hopes of finding Tamlin, and that is all. Merrill knows a degree of my magic. Tamlin's chances of surviving the journey back are greater with her help. I also wish for Merrill to see this cave and mirror. She has a sense for these things, and could shed light on the nature of this illness. You recovered, and Merrill will too. Still, be careful. Should you come upon this strange mirror again, do not touch it. Go quickly, for Tamlin's life hangs in the balance. When Tamlin's life is at stake? Oh, very well. Not quite, Dylan. After they defeated the Darkspawn long ago, the Grey Warden's numbers diminished greatly over the centuries. It seems the humans have little use for them if Darkspawn aren't actively raising their lambs. I suppose the thought of Darkspawn returning one day did not occur to them. The Grey Warden thinks so. A war may be in the offing. If so, we must get as far away from it as possible. Let the humans fight their battles, as we must fight our own. He seemed honorable, and his care for your safety speaks well of him. I trust my judgment. He said he'd been looking for our clan, and had a hint of our whereabouts. As I said, you were fortunate. It is possible he sought a volunteer to join their order. Indeed. The Grey Wardens once consisted of the best from all races. I know of no Dalish joining them since the days of the Darkspawn Wars, however. They are the best and most noble of all races, Dalen. Few can achieve their standards. Then do not tarry. Find Tamlin quickly. Remember that Tamlin needs your help. They destroyed the last horde of Darkspawn to threaten the surface centuries ago. It doesn't mean they extinguished them all. Darkspawn are savage, uncultured creatures, more akin to locusts than men. They may have befouled the cave, but they did not build what is there. From the Warden's description, it may have been a temple devoted to an old god. Should we return, I may see it for myself. Darkspawn are filthy, diseased beasts that taint the very air around them. The Grey Warden seemed to think your illness came from this taint. Since you did not meet any Darkspawn, I don't see how that could be. No doubt he was mistaken. They are mostly boogeymen, used to frighten human children. In modern times, they are rarely seen on surface lands. But rumor holds that great numbers dwell in the ancient tunnels of the Draganlan, the dwarves. They obliterate all that is in their path. Like a plague of locusts, they spread disease and misery when they come to the surface. An event to be feared, without doubt. The old tomes say Darkspawn come in as many varieties as surface creatures. They also say that many Darkspawn are seen only during what the humans call a blight. Perhaps your bear monster was one of those. Then do not tarry. Find Tamlin quickly. Master Island can help you. Go to him and ask to see his stock.
Is the Keeper sending you back to that cave to look for Tamlin? I want to go with you. Keeper Marathari probably won't approve, but I can help find Tamlin. Tamlin's my friend too. I want to help find him. If Meryl can risk it, so can I. Good. I'll follow you, just to make sure Meryl doesn't go running to the Keeper when you tell her I'm coming.
So you have returned to us, Dalen. We are grateful you're whole and well.
So you should be. What were you two thinking, wandering into that cave without first coming to tell the Keeper? Once you saw what was inside, you should have returned. But you kept exploring, didn't you? I suppose your youth can be forgiven. Sadly, Tamlin pays the price. Losing you would be a terrible crime, Dalen. You belong to more than just yourself, or do you not remember?
Let us tell these children the fall of the Dales. You can honor me by sharing in the telling. Come then. Help me as I go along.
Children, hear of the fall of the Dales. Hear the tale of what makes you Dalish.
Would you care to begin, Dalen? Yes, slaves to a terrible empire the humans built on the darkest magic. When it fell, we became free. We built a homeland in the Dales, worshipping the creators, and rebuilding the culture and history we lost in our long years of slavery. They were resentful, because we would not worship their gods, and because we put our people first. Over the years, their nations grew cold toward the Dales. In their eyes, we were blasphemers and cruel tyrants. And so the Dales fell. They took our lands and dispersed our people, forcing us to live in their cities and abandon our gods. But many of us refused to relinquish our ways. We instead chose to scatter to the winds, wandering the lands. To survive and preserve our culture, the clans stay apart until the day the Elvenan have a homeland once more. We are the Dalish, keepers of the lost lore, walkers of the lonely path. Thank you for your forbearance, Dalen. You remember both the tale and the Oath of the Dales perfectly. I will let you get back to your tasks. I pray you find Tamlin quickly. Now that's something I rarely hear. Of course. Ah, yes. The Lost City. Before the Shemlen enslaved us, even before they came to this part of the world, our people lived in glorious Arlathan. Legends say that our ancestors were immortal, and we possessed magic the Shemlen could only dream of. When the humans enslaved us, they took away our language, our history, and our immortality. We quickened to the pace of life and retained nothing of ourselves. We were slaves for so long that even when we became free, there was little for us to recover. If books still exist, I do not know of them. Perhaps they have no choice. Dalish clans are scattered to the winds and rarely gather, which makes us difficult for any organized effort to destroy. And why bother? We have nothing they want. No land, no treasure. And we always move on, allowing no one to grow too angry with us. Some might see this as cowardly, but we are proud. We are the last, and we will survive. They remain in human cities, forgetting all they once had. We call them flat ears, but they differ little from their Shemlin masters. A few may return, but we must accept that they know nothing of the lore, or why we keep it. We can hope to find a new home one day, where the Dalish and the Flat Ears will build a land greater even than Arlathan. We shall teach the Flat Ears the lore they lost, and perhaps they will teach us to understand the Shemlin at last. That is the only way we shall truly live in peace. Then I'm sure you have much to do, unless you've other questions. The one who brought you back? Very little. He seemed decent enough as humans go. As for Grey Wardens, they're heroes without a doubt. Members of our own clan joined their ranks in ages past. Only that they eat living flesh and lurk in underground tunnels, once ruled by the Dergenlen, the dwarves. In the last blight long ago, the Grey Wardens all but wiped them out. Should they return, all races will shudder. I've never heard of such a thing. But in the days of ancient Arlathan, we lived free and spread far across the continent. We were as varied as the Shemlin, though fewer in number. Perhaps some of us lived in caves then, but all knowledge from that era is lost. Of course. May the gods guide your path, Dalen.
Anithara, it's good to see you recovered. They fare well. The Keeper called for the clan to move on, and they will be ready to take us. One is heavy with calf, but it shouldn't be a problem. May I ask of Tamlin's fate? Some say the clan will leave before we find him. The Hala mourn our fallen. No sound is more heart-wrenching than their mourning cry. At least they won't be crying over you. They are quite fond of you. I admire them for their strength and pride. They are equals, not servants like the Shemlin horses. At any rate, I do not envy the Keeper's decision. I'll pray for Tamlin's safe return.
By the Creators, it is so good to see you whole and well. I was so worried. I can't help it, dear. I've raised you since your poor mother died. I've been outside the Keeper's tent the whole time. I have never been so relieved as when I heard you would pull through. What happened? Everyone says Tamlin may be dead. That's awful. I know how much you and the lad care for each other. It was always my hope that you two... well, let's not dwell on it. You must be more careful. Your mother and father, may they rest in peace, would be horrified to see you take such risks. What happened to them is a sad tale, and it's in the past. Reopening old wounds benefits no one. True. Perhaps you're old enough to hear this, though it hardly seems like the right time. Very well. If I do not tell you now, you'll only wonder. Your mother was a hunter, one of the finest, and your father was the Keeper before Marithari. He was with us for a very long time. Your mother was from another clan, and her elders did not approve of the match. She and your father had to meet in secret. One day, bandits caught them alone in the forest. Your father was killed, but your mother escaped. Yes, but also city elves, too. Those of our kind living with humans. do not hold to the old ways. Your mother held to life long enough to give birth to you. But grief racked her heart. One night she simply walked into the moonlight and never returned. She just couldn't carry on without your father. The clan decided not to discuss this around you, lest it poison your heart with sadness. Our people have learned to live with much sorrow. It seemed only right that we not dwell on it. Your mother did leave you a gift, something of your father's for you to have once you were older. Perhaps the time has come. Take this key. You'll see some chests behind the storage Aravel by the Halapen. One of them was your mother's. Its contents are yours if you wish.
I'm glad you've recovered. Once we find Tamlin, we can concentrate on the journey northward.
Thank you for the bow, Master Island. It is light and sturdy, much better than the one I made last year.
You are more than welcome. My father made it and used it in battle against the Clane tribes.
I will carry it with honor.
One of my own crafting, perhaps? It may not have a history, but you'll provide one for it soon enough, yes? Then I am proud to tell it. Our clan was one of the first to flee the Dales. When we came to Ferelden, the fiercest of the Shemlin were the barbarians known as the Clane. We didn't wait for them to attack us. Every Dalish clan in Ferelden united to bring the battle to them. In Ferelden, in Orlais, wherever there are lands the humans cannot hold, we bring our Aravels. You met some at the last gathering. The ensuing battle went well for us. That day, we carved out our reputation of being the deadliest archers. Our arrows won us the right to wander these woods at will. It was this very bow that my father used that day.
Thank you for the tale, Master Island, and especially the bow. I will honor its history.
We are all the same clan. His hand is as my hand. I have relinquished nothing. It was my father who first spoke of the Vir Tanadal, the three ways of the hunter. The first is the Vir Asan, the way of the arrow, to reach for our goal unrelenting. The second is the Vir Borasan, the way of the bow, to bend, but not to break. The last is the Vir Adalen, the way of the wood. We are as ancient as the forests, each tree a part of the greater land. All Dalish are united in this. One day, we shall have a homeland again. Of course, take whatever you need.
Hello there. I don't think we've met.
Ah, it's good you're well. You weren't here when Paul arrived, were you?
I've heard of you. Everyone is talking about you and the other missing hunter. A Grey Warden brought you back here. That obvious, is it? I just found your camp a couple of days ago. A lucky thing. I heard rumors in a nearby human village that a Dalish camp was close, and I hope to find your hunters in the forest.
You were fortunate I didn't shoot you, Paul. I thought you were a Shem, and a bandit at that. You're not the first city elf to rejoin his people. I'm sure you'll find life among us more satisfying than with the Shems, if no less harsh.
In the alienage, we hear terrible stories about the Dalish. They aren't true, right? I'll do my best. I hope we find your missing friend very soon. It was good to meet you. Perhaps I'll get to hunt with you someday. You've never been to a city? Surely you've at least visited a town.
We occasionally trade with the Shemlin in small villages, but only a few in the clan can undertake that task.
I can't imagine never having seen a city. It's crowded, with buildings all squeezed together. There are people everywhere, and it always stinks. Only if they're servants. Most of us live in a part of the city called an alienage, separated from the humans by walls. That's where all the poorest folk live. Laborers, dock hands, and thieves. And that's if you're lucky. We don't think about it like that. To most folks, that's just how it is. Andraste's mercy, no. No one is allowed to walk around with any weapon. Fighting just gets you arrested. And I've never had to leave the city before. Much less learn how to hunt. Well, back in the city we hear the same about you. Stories about Dalish bandits attacking people for no reason.
We would never resort to banditry.
I'm just saying that's what we hear. And it's elves who say these things too, not humans. Even if they did, I honestly don't think most of them would want to leave. Wandering and hunting doesn't sound like much of a life.
At least they would live as free men, and as equals.
Maybe. But to most elves I know, the only difference between them and humans is how much coin they have. Coin is the great equalizer, not living free. I got into trouble for stealing. I'm not a thief. We just never really had a choice. Mother was a maid, and I was lucky if I could get work at the docks. You make a living however you can, right? When Mother died, I got drunk and was caught picking a guard's pocket. They were going to hang me, but I escaped and, well, here I am. I'll do my best to adjust and fit in. I never dreamed you'd be so welcoming. I thought at best you might hide me for a bit. I'm glad I was wrong. Of course. I hope to see you again.
The Keeper told me I'm to accompany you back to those caves. As her apprentice, I may see something you missed. But our main objective is to find Tamlin, of course. We must make haste. He may not have much time. A little, but the Keeper cured you. How dangerous could it be? Even if I get sick, finding Tamlin or something valuable will be worth it. That depends on the Keeper. I thought we're supposed to go alone. She is. I suppose I needn't worry about it then. Are you ready? Enough to pique my interest and my concern. You can explain the rest on the way. And let us make haste while daylight lasts.